Hey everybody, Jenny here for another week of mobility and more. Today we're going to be focusing on more of the upper body, as last week we focused on a lot of floor mobility, working on the lower body. So today we're going to switch it up. We're going to start with our dynamic warm-up, and for that we're going to need a foam roller here. So we're going to be warming up with foam rolling, going through the entire body. And then we're going to move into our wall mobility. So for wall mobility, we're going to be focusing mostly on that upper body, since we didn't do a whole lot of that last week. And then instead of our strengthening exercises, we're going to move into some scapular mobility. So something a little bit different. We haven't done that yet. And then we'll end it off with whatever time we have left doing some static stretching. So all you need today is a mat, a foam roller for that dynamic warm-up, and then we'll be moving over closer towards the wall for our upper body mobility. So let's go ahead and get started in with our dynamic warm-up. So like I said, we're going to be using a foam roller. We just have a pretty typical foam roller here at the gym, but really you can use any type of foam roller that you have. Some of them are more grooved, and that they are denser, harder essentially. Those are going to be great as well. For beginners, I do recommend the smooth ones that are completely foam all the way through. These will be similar to the ones that you find at our facility. We also do have a couple of smaller ones that are grooved and hollow in the middle. So again, those are for more advanced foam rollers because it's going to be creating more pressure, and it's going to feel a little more uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. So some things to remember before we go into foam rolling. We always want to start from the furthest away from our heart and work our way up. Foam rolling is great to do for a warm-up, but it's also great for a cool down. So the benefits are great for either or. And then last, we just want to make sure that we are rolling each muscle section before moving on to the next, and then again moving it all the way up through the body. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Like I mentioned, we're starting low, furthest away from our heart. So we're going to be rolling out our calf muscle. So I want you to go ahead and lay one leg over top of the foam roller. You're going to start at that like Achilles tendon on that one leg, and then I just want you to roll about halfway up your calf muscle. So you're not going all the way up, you're going about to mid-calf, from Achilles heel to mid-calf. So we're just rolling back and forth. We're applying our own pressure against the foam roller. Going back and forth here, just doing the first half of that leg. We'll do the second half here in just a second. But we're going to start by doing one leg at a time, moving halfway up that muscle. So once we've gotten a couple of rolls in here, I want you now to go ahead and have a new starting point. It's going to be that mid-calf. And we're going to be rolling all the way up to that bottom of our knee, just right before we get to that knee crease. So we're still doing that same movement. We're just now going to the top half of that calf muscle. So starting again at that mid-calf point, and then going up just right behind and below that knee. So again, foam rolling should not be painful. It may feel a little uncomfortable, but it should never be painful. If it's too painful, either decrease the stiffness of the foam roller, or just go ahead and go into that next muscle group. All right, so now that we've foam rolled the entire piece of this calf muscle, we're going to go ahead, go back to that start position down by your Achilles, and we're going to go ahead and do a foam rolling movement called spanning. So what we just did, we went along the length of our muscle, but now we're going to go from side to side against our muscle. So to do this, go ahead, start at that Achilles tendon. You're going to go side to side, windshield wiper with your foot. So you're just rolling side to side, going through that spanning motion. And what you want to do is, as you're going side to side, move that foam roller slowly up so that you're going through that entire calf. So as we are going up through that calf muscle, we're going side to side with it. So think about this as widening your muscle, going side to side, making sure we hit the entire calf. So we're just slowly moving that foam roller down the length of our calf at the same time. So again, just spanning here, going going side to side, making sure we get that entire calf muscle in. So go up and down that calf muscle while you're going side to side, rolling that leg back and forth. So we're using the entire muscle this time. We're not stopping at that halfway point. We're going all the way down, rotating side to side. All right, once you've done that 2 times, we're gonna go ahead and switch it to our other leg. So again, we're gonna start with that first movement, starting right at our Achilles tendon, and we're gonna be rolling to the halfway point of our calf. So we're just rolling back and forth here. Again, you're applying your own pressure. It should not be uncomfortable here. So we're starting furthest away from the heart and going all the way up, trying to go through the majority of the muscle groups here today. So again, halfway up that calf to start us out. Just going back and forth. Again, it should be just not painful, maybe a little uncomfortable at some points. Okay, we're gonna start now at that mid calf and we're gonna roll it all the way up to the back and bottom of that knee. So right below, you don't really need to actually roll out the knee joint itself. You're just stopping right below it, right before that crease. Again, working on the top half of our calf muscle here. Just rolling back and forth. Once you've got a couple rolls in here, we're gonna go ahead, go into that spanning motion again. So we're gonna go ahead and start back down towards that Achilles tendon here. And we're gonna be going side to side, windshield wiper our leg. And as we do that, we're gonna make sure that we're still foam rolling and going up the length of our leg to make sure we get that spanning motion throughout the entire length of your calf. So again, you're rotating that leg, going left to right. Act like you are widening that leg as you're going through the length as well. So we're going back and forth, taking our time, going the entire length of that calf muscle. All right, once you've gone through that twice, we're gonna go ahead and switch it to our next muscle group. So we're gonna be moving up the chain here, so we're gonna go into those hamstrings. So we're gonna do one leg at a time here. So you're gonna start with it just right above your knee. Again, that knee crease. You're not rolling that knee joint. You're just right above. And then this time we are gonna be able to roll the entire hamstring. So you're starting right below that knee and rolling all the way up underneath to your bottom. So we're not actually rolling our glutes yet. We're just getting right to the tip of them and then going straight back down to right above the knee. So if I turn to the side here, you might be able to see it just a little bit better. So starting right above that knee and just rolling until right underneath the glutes, and then I'm coming straight back down to that starting point. So again, you're applying your own pressure here by using your body weight. So once we've done a couple of rolls there, we're going to try to add in that spanning again. So remember, we're taking that leg and just going left and right with it, side to side, and we're going to be moving the length of that hamstring muscle as well. So we're spanning, going left and right, just turning back and forth, and then we're making sure that we are going up the length of the leg as well. So just rotating that leg as we roll up the length as well. Trying to go through this 2 to 3 times. You should be able to feel that you're hitting a little bit of a different muscle group now that you're adding in that spanning movement. You're going side to side here. Alright, so once we've done that, we got to make sure we go back to the other side. So go ahead and switch it to the other leg. Again, right underneath or right above that knee crease, and you're going to be rolling it the length of that hamstring all the way right into your underneath your glutes. You're going to stop and go back to that starting point. So we're just rolling back and forth here, trying to make sure we do that entire length. If you need need to readjust your foam roller, make sure you do that to stay on track. Just loosening it up here for that dynamic warm-up. And we're going to be adding in that spanning. So remember, we're going left to right with that leg, and we're going to be doing that as we go through the length of our legs. So you're hitting a little bit of a different muscle group here. You're still on the hamstrings, but just going to deepen that stretch a little bit, going side to side and going the length of that leg. So go ahead, try to get that in 3 times here, going side to side through the length of your leg. Okay, so we're going to keep moving up the length of our leg. Instead of doing the back side now, we're going to do the sides of our legs. So this is going to be the IT band roll. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to lay over top of our foam roller. So the leg that you're rolling is on bottom. The opposite leg is going to come up and over, so that way your torso is sideways to the ground. You're going to use this leg as for stability, and you can either do this on your hands or move down to your forearms if it's a little too much pressure on your wrist. And again, you're going to be foam rolling here the length of that IT band. So what that looks like is you're going to start right above that knee, and you're going to roll all the way up to that hip. So this whole length here is what's being foam rolled. Now, before you go into this, a word of caution. This one and our next roll are going to be ones that may feel a little more uncomfortable. It's a bigger muscle group, and if you've done a lot of leg exercises, then you might be able to feel this one. It could be a little tight. It's going to feel a little bit different. So go ahead, give that one a try. Again, going right above that knee, all the way to that hip joint here, just rolling back and forth. Again, I want you to try to have an even roll as you're going back and forth from the top of that knee on the side all the way to your hip joint. So if you need to take a break at all during this roll, go ahead and do so, and then go back into it and get a little bit more. So you're pushing yourself back and pulling yourself forward. So again, you can do this on your forearms. You could do it on your hands as well. It's kind of whatever works for you. All right, so once we've done that, we're gonna make sure we do the other side. So again, you're laying over top of that foam roller with the leg you're wanting to roll. You're starting it right above that knee. Your opposite leg is bent over top in front, and that leg's just going to be used for stability, for balance as you're going back and forth. We're down on our forearms. You can also, like I said, do this one on your hands, whatever is more comfortable for you. You're using that stability leg in your arms to pull yourself forward and back. So for me, this one is a little bit more uncomfortable. I am a little bit more sore in this area. So if you need to take a break, go ahead and do so. But we're trying to get just a couple of rolls in here to really lengthen that muscle group. And again, we're focusing on rolling the side of our leg. So we're not on the back or the front. We're right on that side section to make sure we're rolling out that IT band. So making sure we go from the bottom to the top here, getting that whole muscle. All right, so we've done the back side, our hamstrings. We've done the sides of each of our muscle, the outsides, our IT band. And now we're gonna roll the front side, which is going to be our quads. So again, if you're a little sore, this one might feel a little more uncomfortable as well. It's a big muscle group. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna lay over top of our foam roller. We're gonna make sure that we start though right above our knee, and we're gonna roll all the way up to the crease in our hips. So we've got a large section here to roll. Now, I like to set mine off to the side, so I only have one leg over top of my foam roller. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm starting at that top of my knee, and then my opposite leg is going to go out into like a triangle and make a 4. I'm also gonna be on my forearms. I'm gonna do that same thing. I'm gonna pull and push myself back and forth using my upper body and this leg that's out to the side for stability. So I'm rolling all the way to the crease And then all the way back to that starting point right above my knee. So a large group here to roll. That body weight is acting as your pressure. You're going back and forth. I want you to try to stay relaxed as you roll. Try not to control or try not to contract your muscles. You're just going back and forth, trying to be relaxed. I know easier said than done, but we're trying to stay relaxed as we roll. So again, going back and forth here. All right. We're going to go ahead now and try the other leg. So I'm going to switch this over to the other side. Like I said, I only like to have one leg over top of the foam roller, and I like to set my other one to the side. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm setting myself up, starting right above my knee, and rolling all the way to the crease of my hip, trying to go through that entire muscle. I'm really working on that front side, the quad. We've already rolled the outside and the back, the hamstrings. So really focus on rolling that front. Again, going at your own pace here. If you need to take rests or breaks, go ahead and do that. It is a little weird if you haven't done it before. Again, it should not be painful, but it may be uncomfortable. All right, once you've gotten a couple of rolls in, we're going to go ahead. We've got one more section here before we move up to the next. We're going to roll out the inside of our leg, so that muscle in there. So you're going to turn your foam roller. It's going to be parallel with you. So whatever direction you're going to lay, your foam roller is going the same direction. And you're going to be rolling from, again, just the inside of your leg, but right above that knee, all the way to your crease. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay over top, but you're going to be laying over top to the side of your foam roller. And then you're just going to lay that other leg out straight to the back. So again, you're foam rolling the middle or like the inside of your leg. It's parallel with you. You're rolling back and you're rolling forth. So you're pulling yourself with your body, those arms, to roll all the way over, starting just right above that knee, all the way into the crease of your leg, just like we did for that last roll. So again, just going over top, rolling out the inside of our leg here to finish out before we move up the chain. Getting in a couple of rolls here, and go ahead and switch it to the opposite side. So remember, foam roller is parallel with you, same direction. You're just laying down and putting that leg right over top, and starting at the front or right above your knee, going into your hip crease. The other leg is back and flat, rolling over top, trying to get just the inside muscle here and rolling that out. Using those arms to help control this motion. Just going back and forth. Again, you're going at your own pace, doing as many rolls as you need, taking breaks if you need to. Okay, so we're moving up that kinetic chain. We're going to go to roll out our glutes. So for this, we're going to be sitting on top of our foam roller. And let me turn to the side a little bit here so you can see. So you're sitting on that foam roller. Now we want to roll out one glute at a time. So we're going to transfer that weight to the side that we want to roll. So most of my weight now is on my left glute. My right glute really isn't touching that foam roller a whole lot. So we're just going to roll back and forth here on that glute. Remember, it's just one side here. If you want to deepen that stretch, you're going to take that leg that you're not rolling out, and you're going to make that figure 4, and you're going to roll at the same time. So that's if you need to deepen it. Otherwise, you can just roll it out. This one, you're not rolling as far. Try to find exactly where you're sore, and just roll through that area. Again, you're on one side of your glute. Just going back and forth here, controlling it with your legs and your arms. We'll go ahead and switch to the opposite side. So I'm transferring my weight now to the other side. As you can see, my left side really is not on the foam roller. It's really just that right side now for me. Again, deepening that roll by going into that stretch, that figure 4 stretch, if you need. going to continue up. One thing that I want you to remember here is that we're never going to foam roll our lower back. Just because our lower back has lower stability levels, we want to make sure that we stay injury free. So we're going to skip rolling our lower back. That's something that you should always skip. If you do want to include that lower back, the way you should do this is putting the roller parallel to you so that you lay right on top of it. It is in line with your spine. You're laying over top. If you have long hair, be cautious, you might roll over it. You're going to round your back by grabbing opposite shoulders, and you're just going to slowly roll side to side right off of that spine. So your movements maybe are going about an inch in both directions from your spine, but you're going side to side, trying to keep your balance by using your legs. So again, your back is rounded, you're going side to side. This is the only way you should ever be rolling your lower back. Otherwise, you should never isolate it by itself because again, it is unsafe. All right, moving up that chain, we're still going to be rolling out our lower back, or our back, not our lower back. And we're going to start right above, or right where our shoulder blades end. And you're going to be rolling all the way up to your shoulders. So again, for this one, use caution if your hair is longer. And you're going to be holding those opposite shoulders. So to round the back, you're going like this, basically hugging yourself to round your back. Starting right underneath those shoulder blades. And you're going to pick up your bottom just a little bit. And you're going to roll through this area. So again, you're stopping at the lower part of your shoulder blades, so just right about here, and you're rolling all the way up to the top of your shoulders. So your back is rounded the entire time. You're just going through this motion. If you need to take breaks on this one to either rest your head or your legs, go ahead and do so. But that back should be rounded the entire time that you're going through this one. You should be able to feel this in your shoulders, going through those shoulder blades area as well. All right, so readjust if you need to, but again, we're always focusing on staying with that upper back here, all the way into the shoulders. Again, try to stay nice and relaxed here. Try not to let those muscles contract as you're going through those motions. Okay, next, we're going to be rolling out our lats here on the sides, so we're still making our way up our torso. So to do this, we're going to be laying over top of our foam roller. Once we lay over top, we're going to start it again right where our shoulder blades would be ending, but we're on the side of our body here this time. We're going to use our extra hand, put it on top of the foam roller to help guide it. Our other arm is going to be laying out flat with your palm to the sky. And you're just going to slowly roll and guide that foam roller with the other hand. Legs are bent here because again, you want to be on the side of your body. So we're just going back and forth. Oh, watch your hair. This movement is not as big, rolling out again those lats. Still working on those muscles in that torso area. Palm is to the sky. Movement isn't very far. All right, we'll go ahead and switch it to the opposite side. We're laying over top, starting where those shoulder blades would end, but you're again on that side part of your body, palm to the sky. Opposite hand here is going to be guiding that foam roller. You're stacked, laying on your side, going through this motion. I'm not moving too far, but I'm rolling all the way essentially into my armpit here for this one. So still working on that torso all the way up into your armpit to roll out those lats, my palm to the sky. Going back and forth here. All right, so we're gonna move our way down to our triceps and biceps here. So for that, we're still laying over top, But instead of ending in that armpit area, we're going to be starting just right behind or right in front of it, we'll say. So right outside of the armpit area, palm to the sky, using the opposite hand again to control, but you're not going into your armpit this time. You're stopping right before it and stopping right above that elbow. So we're rolling out that tricep here. So not going all the way into the armpit, stopping right before and stopping right above that elbow. So just going through that motion, just like that. Nice work. Now I want you to go ahead, turn that palm down, and continue to roll in that same motion. So it should feel a little bit different. Muscle has changed because we've rotated our hand over. Still controlling with that extra hand. All right, once you do that, we'll go ahead and switch to the opposite side. All right, so we're laying over top. Palm is to the sky here, starting right outside of that armpit and rolling it all the way down into right above that elbow. Let me get situated here. Using the other arm to control the foam roller. Nice work. Palm to the sky here, trying to control that motion. Alright, once you've gotten a couple rolls that way, we're turning that hand over here. Palm is now down. We're still rolling that same area. Should feel a little different now since we've rotated the arm. Controlling it with that extra hand. Alright guys, so that was our foam rolling section. We went through some major muscle groups. There's a ton of other muscles you can foam roll, but those were the major ones. So remember important things here. We never foam roll our lower back, it's unsafe. And then we always start from the ground and work our way up. And it's always good to foam roll before or after you work out. They both have benefits, so keep that in mind. And then I'm going to pause this workout. I'm going to move closer to the wall. So go ahead, find a space around you to have a clear space on the wall. And we're going to work on some wall mobility using the upper body mostly here. All right, so we'll go ahead, pause this. All right guys, so we move closer to the wall. We're gonna work on that wall mobility, and again, we're focusing mostly on the upper body here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do our wall arm circles. So we're gonna be drawing a circle here up against the wall. So one thing to focus on, the closer you are to the wall, the harder it's gonna be. The further away you are from the wall, the easier it will be, just because you're going through a little bit less of that range of motion. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna stand however close or far you need from the wall. You're going to start with your hand up against the wall. It's going to be the back of your hand against the wall. As you move forward, that arm is in front of you. Your palm is still in front of the wall. It's grazing the wall the entire time. Once it gets up overhead, you're going to rotate that hand. So now that your palm is facing the wall, it is rubbing up against the wall as it goes back behind you and comes back down to that starting point where you rotate it back. So now the back of the hand is up against the wall. So again, the closer you are, the harder it's going to be. You're going through a full range of motion every single time, going all the way around. So again, you start with that palm facing away from the wall as you raise it going up all the way above your head. Once it gets there, that's when we turn our palm towards the wall and we finish that rotation back behind us as it comes back to the start when we rotate our hand with palm facing away. So go ahead, get those arm circles in. We're going in this direction first. Trying to go through that full range of motion, rotating back to palm against the wall, depending on where you're at in the circle. If you feel that this is super easy, go ahead and step a little bit closer to the wall and try to challenge yourself to go through even further range of motion. So you should feel this, a little bit of stretch, but you're also controlling this motion through contracting, getting that arm through. So this time around, we're instead of going in front first, we're starting back behind us. So that palm is facing the wall. We're gonna bring it back behind you as it comes back in front of you. You're flipping that palm away from the wall. So you're still drawing that same circle. We're just now going in the opposite direction. So we once were going counterclockwise, now we are going clockwise. So making sure we rotate where that palm is, depending on where we're at in that circle. Your arm is just grazing past the wall. You're not using it to help you get through that circle. You're just running it along the wall. Again, controlling that motion the entire time. All right, so we're gonna make sure we now do the same thing on the opposite side. So we're starting out in front of us. So remember, as we start and go forward, that palm is facing away from the wall, all the way up to the top here. Once we get right above our head, we're switching that palm so now it is facing the wall as it comes down. We're switching it back around once we get back to that start position. So hopefully you can see this in my video. As I go up, palm is facing away. As I come back down behind me, that is when my palm is facing the wall. So the closer you are to the wall, the harder it's going to be. You've got further range of motion to go through. Nice and controlled through this motion. Going all the way through that circle every single time here. Nice job. We're going to do a couple more in this direction, and then we're going to be switching it up, starting in that reverse direction. So finishing up this one. And we're going to be starting now back behind us. So that palm should start facing the wall. Again, it's just grazing. Once it gets right up in front of your head, you're switching it so that your palm now is facing away from the wall. So always rotating that palm, going through full range of motion the entire time. This should be controlled and intentional through those movements. Always rotating that palm based off of where you're at. Go ahead and get one last circle here. Alright, so up next, we are going to do our wall slides. So we are going to be setting up facing the wall. Again, the closer you are to the wall, the harder it's going to be, going through a full range of motion. You're going to be sliding the side of your palm all the way through your forearm, up and down the wall. So again, you're just setting them against the wall and you're grazing them as you raise all the way up as high as you can and coming straight back down to that start position. So it's going to look something like this. I'm starting at that 90-degree angle here, and my palms, the sides of my palms and my forearms are against the wall, and I'm just going to slide them to go all the way up as high as they can, and then I'm going to slide them all the way back down to our start position. So again, the further away you are, the less range of motion you're going through. The closer you are to the wall, the greater the range of motion. So you're just grazing, going up that wall, sliding it back down. So working on that range of motion, opening up those shoulders, coming straight back down. Breathing through this, nice and controlled. It does not need to be quick on the way up or on the way down. You're just going as far up as you can, and then you're going to bring it straight back down. Nice job. We're going to go ahead and get one more wall slide here. So going all the way up to this top position and bringing it all the way back down. All right, next we're going to go through and stretch out our pec muscles. So I want you to step just a little bit further away from the wall to start. Your palm and forearm are going to be flat up against the wall. I want it to be even with your shoulder, so it's straight out. And then what I want you to do is keeping your palm and forearm against the wall. I want you to slowly take a couple of steps forward so that you can feel this stretch now in your pec muscle. Again, you're opening up here to feel that stretch. Once you feel that stretch, you've held it here for a little while. I want you to go ahead and walk back to that start. So remember, start position is when your arm is straight out to the side. You don't feel a stretch. And then you're just going to walk a couple of small steps forward, keeping that body straight ahead. You should feel that stretch now right in your pec muscles. You're going to hold it here for a couple of deep breaths. And then you're going to walk it back. So again, walking it back, you should not feel a stretch. Walking it forward, you will feel the stretch. You breathe through it here. Keeping that body squared off. Forearm and palm have not moved. You're walking it back. We're going to go ahead and get one more on this side. So go ahead, walk it forward a couple of steps. Feeling that stretch, opening up those pec muscles. And walking it back. All right, so same thing now, opposite side. Palm and forearm are flat against the wall. Your arm is coming straight out from your shoulder. And you're just walking a couple of steps forward so that you can feel that stretch in your pec muscle. Keeping that body squared off towards the wall. Taking a couple of deep breaths and stepping it back to the start before going back out so that you can feel your stretch. Work. Just going back and forth with your own timing here, trying to hold that stretch for at least 3 good deep breaths before you walk it back to your start position. So palm and forearm have stayed flat against the wall this entire time. The only thing that is moving is the position of my body in regards to my arm that is stationary. All right, going into our next stretch, we're going to be doing downward dog on the wall. So we're going to be placing our hands right out in front of us, and we're going to step it back so that we can feel this stretch and opening here in both of our arms through our lats. So we are bent over at our hips, our shoulders are completely open, and we should be able to feel this stretch. We're going to hold it here for 3 deep breaths before we walk it back into the start and come back to this position. So again, walking it back up, you're standing upright, back to that 90-degree angle here before we walk it back out into our stretch. Here for those 3 deep breaths. And then again, walking it all the way back up to the start position and walking it all the way back. So you're just bent over at the hips here, opening up those shoulders, and again, you're feeling this stretch both sides through the armpits all the way into your lats. Opening it up. All right, we're gonna go through this one more time. Start back in that start position and go ahead and walk it back out, bending over at the hips, feeling that stretch in your lats, in your armpits, opening it up right here. And walking it back to the start. All right, we're gonna deepen that stretch just a little bit, and we're gonna be doing it called the puppy dog stretch. So instead of just our palms, we're gonna be bent at our elbows so that palms and forearms are against the wall. And then we're gonna walk it back out so that we feel that bend at the hips. And we're still able to feel this stretch through here. It's just gonna be a little bit deeper into that stretch since we've bent our arms. So again, holding this one here for 3 deep breaths before we stand it all the way back upright and go all the way back into our stretch. So again, this one is just deepening our stretch through the lats compared to that downward dog. My bent over at the hips. And standing it all the way back upright. Whew. Okay, so we spent quite a bit of time here doing the upper body, but we want to make sure we do the upper part of our back, so our T-spine area. So first thing that we're going to do here, we're going to be kneeling here, and we're going to be up against the wall. We're going to have both hands out in front. We're going to put those palms together. And I'm currently right up against the wall here. There's no space between anything. I'm up against the wall. And I'm just going to open up this far out hand from the wall. I'm going to open it up all the way so that my palm, or the back of my hand, is facing the other wall, or is touching the wall. So I'm going to open up and close. So we did this one last time on the ground. We're just switching it up a little bit here by doing it now on the wall. So page openers here. The arm and leg closest to the wall are up against it, and I'm just opening up with that hand furthest away, trying to go as far as I can. The goal here is to get the back of each palm, back of each hand to the wall. If you're not there, that's okay. You're just going to be opening as far as you can for your page openers. So again, working on that T-spine rotation here, working on that mobility. And we're going to go ahead now and switch it to the opposite side. So our other leg now is up against the wall, and our other arm is starting against the wall. And we're opening up now with the other arm. Still trying to go and reach back of the hand all the way to the wall. But if not, that's okay. We're just opening it up as far as we can. Just opening and closing. Nice and controlled through that motion. So we're going to go ahead and get one more here on this side. All right. Nice job. Now we're going to make it just a little bit, or go a little bit deeper into that. So what we're going to do, we're still going to have ourselves up against the wall, but instead of your leg closest to the wall being up, you're going to put that other leg now, the leg furthest away, up. You're still going to have the arm closest touching the wall, and we're still going to do that page open, but we've just switched it up a little bit to make it a little bit deeper into that stretch, a little more difficult, by having that other leg up in front. So we're going through that page turn again. We just have the other leg now kneeling instead. So again, we're still trying to get the back of the hand all the way to the other side. On this one, I don't have that mobility to get there, so I'm just going as far as I comfortably can, and I'm stopping there, holding it for a good deep breath before I return back to the start. So just going through here one more time. Still page opener, other leg is just kneeling now. All right, we're gonna switch it to the other side here. So my leg furthest away from the wall is the one that I'm bringing up. But the arm closest to the wall is still against the wall, putting those palms together. And I'm opening it up, going as far as I can here. As you can see, I'm not up against the wall, but that is perfectly okay. I'm just gonna go as far as my mobility allows, and I stop there before returning back to the start. So just opening up and closing. Again, working on our spine mobility with this rotation. I'm going to go ahead and get two more here to finish us out. We've got one more wall mobility stretch in us. We've got one leg glute mobility stretch here. I'm going to rotate my mat around, and we're going to be laying down on our backs here. We are going to put one leg up against the wall, trying to keep it at this 90 degrees. We're taking this opposite leg, and we're going to cross it over, so ankle at the knee, and we're going to do our figure 4 stretch here. So the goal here is to be at 90 degrees with this leg against the wall, and you should be able to have this ankle at the knee, and you're thinking about pressing this knee towards the wall. Now you're doing this through controlling your muscles contractions. You're not doing this by pushing. So you should be able to feel this in your glutes and into the sides of your glutes as well. So we're doing this figure 4 wall stretch. We're holding it here. We're deep breaths. We're pushing our knee or thinking about pushing our knee towards the wall. Again, you're doing this through your own muscle contraction. You're not doing this or assisting by pushing. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch it to the other leg against the wall, folding the other leg over. And again, we are thinking about pushing our knee towards the wall. We should feel this right through here, stretching that muscle group, glutes. We're holding it here for a couple of deep breaths. And we're going to rotate one more time to do this on each leg again. Trying to go a little bit deeper into that stretch. Go ahead and switch it to that first leg. Trying to go a little deeper into this stretch. Again, trying to control your muscles to press that knee towards the wall. Trying again also to keep that back flat. Try not to let it arch here. And go ahead and switch one last time. Going into this stretch. Again, allow those muscles to relax. Try not to contract. You're just pressing that knee out all the way as far as you can. All right. Go ahead, come out of this stretch. And we are done with our wall mobility, so I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to move us back over, and we're going to work on some scapular motion and mobility. All right, guys, so we're going to go do our scapular mobility here. So we're going to be laying on hands and knees, and the important thing here is first, your scapula is your shoulder blades. So we're going to be moving these forward, which is called protracting and retracting. So the important thing to remember here is that we are moving those shoulder blades and not our shoulders. So these are two different movements. Shoulders are staying the same, and we are doing different movements with our shoulder blades. So as we're here, the first thing I want you to do is to round your back. So as you notice, my shoulders did not move, but you can see this part of my back has rounded and moved up. Now I'm thinking about rounding my back, keeping my shoulders still, and I'm pulling those shoulder blades away from each other. So go ahead, try this movement. Again, it's not very far, but you can see my back is rounding, and those shoulders really haven't moved a whole lot. I'm letting my shoulder blades do all of the work. So you're just rounding that back and going back to that start position. Rounding that back and going back to your start position. All right, so that was protraction. We're going to go into retraction. So for this, we're going to sink into our shoulders. So again, as you can see, I'm going lower into my shoulders. I'm sinking, and I'm essentially pressing those shoulder blades together. That is going to be our retraction. So again, my shoulders are not moving. I'm just allowing my body to sink in, and my shoulder blades come together. So I'm lowering down, sinking in, shoulder blades pressed together. Now, if you're having difficulty with this and you feel that your shoulders are moving a lot with this movement, that's okay. This takes a lot of time and effort to practice. I can tell you, the first time I did this, I could not figure it out to save my life. So go ahead, keep trying. I want you to try to isolate that movement of the shoulder blades without moving your shoulders. All right, guys. So that was our scapular retraction mobility. We'll work on more of that next time. But again, you're just trying to move those shoulder blades while isolating your shoulders. So you're just retracting and protracting. And that's all we have time for today. So we went through our foam rolling for that warm-up, our wall mobility, and then we kind of learned a little bit our scapular movement. So So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you guys again soon. And just remember, everyone's journey is